Hey guys, and welcome to part 2 of the Botania tutorial. Today we're going to work on some semi-automation of the mana farm, so that way you can leave it and it will automatically create some mana for you. We will also show a quick tutorial on how to use the Runic Alter, because you'll need that to use some of the tools here. This is not a fully automatic farm. There are a couple out there that work, but in my opinion, a lot of them tend to glitch out or not work so well, and it's a lot easier just to feed them in the beginning. And you only have to feed them like once, and then you can leave them be for quite a long time. So that's what we're going to get into today. One of the first items we're going to need is something called an open crate, and this is used with Botania. We're just going to grab the living wood and create something like this, and you will get something called an open crate. If we grab this, as well as a single pressure plate, a single hopper, one single redstone repeater, and a couple of redstone. I think you only need 4 or 5. So you don't need a whole bunch here. So everything down here is all we'll need for this. I do recommend a chest of some kind. You can use anything, even a double chest. Then, wherever you have your endoflames, you want to keep in mind where the radius is that they can pick them up. So in this case, it looks like right here is probably going to be our best bet if we want all of these to reach. So what we'll do is we'll put a pressure plate right there, and you can see no matter where these are, everything will be able to reach this. And then right above it, we will put the open crate. Attached to the open crate, we will put a hopper. Okay, now you're going to grab some of any material. In this case, we will go ahead and grab some living rock. So if I grab this living rock and I put one right there, and one right there, and there. We will grab the redstone, and you're going to put it in a pattern like this. And then the redstone repeater going into the hopper. Grab whatever chest you want and pop that on top. You now have a semi-automatic feeder for all of your endoflames. So if I grab some wood, and put the wood in here, you'll see the wood gets taken out by the hopper, and it gets put into the drop crate, or the open crate, dropped on the pressure plate, and the redstone gets activated. It won't drop anymore until the plate gets cleared, and you'll see here we have the endoflames one at a time slowly activating. By doing it this way, we will have a constant feed of material for the endoflames. We never have to worry about them being overfed or them being too saturated. And you can see here that the mana is already being pushed from both of these. One thing you can do is if you put a second or third tick on this, it will take a second for the redstone to actually kick in to tell it to not to drop it. So it will actually drop 2 or 3, and that way all of your endoflames will get caught with this. Now you may be thinking that using the wood is not the best way to do this. You are 100% correct. The way we should be doing this is using a furnace of some type. So, if we do the same thing, I'm going to break this, and we're going to put a furnace here. Now that we have the furnace on top, we will jump up here, and we're going to put a hopper straight on the top. Then we're going to grab a chest and put the chest on top. Now when we click on the furnace, we'll see that wood is being supplied to the top of it. So this is where the semi-automation process comes in. So we could just put coal in here to cook this, or we could break these down and turn it into logs, and we could put the logs in there so that way it's cooking itself. But that's a lot of work, and that's a lot of self-work. What we need to do is we need to create a generating flower that will automatically create heat, so that way this furnace is always running. The easiest way to do this is to use the Runic Alter to create some stuff. The first thing we need to do is create the Runic Alter. The Runic Alter is used by grabbing living rock, an ender pearl, which you have thrown into a mana pool. By doing this, you'll see that when we put this ender pearl in, we'll get a mana pearl back. We do that, and now we have an ender pearl. That is now a mana pearl. So if we go into our crafting table, and we put the living rock and the mana pool in the middle, we get something called the Runic Alter. If we grab this, and we set it down, you'll need to be within a radius of a mana pool and a mana spreader, because this will take mana to create whatever it's doing. So we'll grab that mana spreader, and we will point it to the Runic Alter. Next, you need to grab whatever ingredients you want to use for the flower. If we go into the book, one of the flowers we want to create is under functional flora. If we click into that, you'll see one called exoflame. If we click on exoflame, any furnaces nearby to the exoflame will be fueled and given a speed boost for the cost of some mana. And if we look here, we can see that it actually takes 2 runes as well as some petals. So if we look in the runes, if we hit shift and then hold control, and we scroll over, you'll see it shows you how to create the Runic Alter. You can also use a mana diamond, which is created the same way. If you scroll far enough, you will get to the rune section. It starts on 8 of 23, and you're going to see that there are a crap ton of runes. Most of them are different elements for the first 4, and then it gets into the different seasons. So now we're on spring, winter, summer, and fall. We are then on to some other ones called like mana, lust, gluttony, greed, and sloth, and there's a couple more. I said it keeps going for a little bit. But if we go to the one that we want, and we go back to here and go to the exoflame, you'll see that we need fire and we need summer. So if we go into fire, we will see that it needs nether brick, mana steel ingot, mana powder. And if we look, we can see that this has a secondary one of nether wart and then gunpowder. Here we have everything we need. If we throw an iron ingot into the mana pool, it will create the mana ingot. If we throw gunpowder in, it'll create mana powder. And then we have the rest of the ingredients. So if I come over to this and I toss this in here, you'll see that's going to make a mana ingot. If I toss the powder, we're going to make the mana powder. If you right click on the Runic Alter, it will put that item there for you. And we're going to put one of each item. If you have everything right and you have a mana spreader pointing to it, you will see that the rune of fire is being crafted, and it has a small time as the mana is getting forced into this. After some time, the rune will complete and you'll have some cool lightning effects. To finish this, you will see that it has a living rock symbol as well as the wand. So if I right click with the living rock and then I right click with the wand, boom, out pops 2 of the fires. So for the elements, the 4 elements, you will get 2 each. When you start making the ones for the seasons, you will get 1 each, but it will return any elements that are used to create it. After you have crafted the runes needed, so a fire, a summer, 2 red, a single light gray, and a single gray, we're going to put that into the petal apothecary, and you will get an exoflame. It is at this point that I recommend you take one more step, and that is to grab some grass using shears, a piece of dirt, and any of your glimmering flowers. If you go over to a mana pool, in this case we have this right here, you'll see that throwing a single grass into this will create a pasture seed. So if I do that, we now have a pasture seed. If we grab this pasture seed, the dirt, and the glimmering flower, we will create a floating white flower. Grab this and mix it with the custom flower you just made, and you will have a floating exoflame. Now we are going to literally shift and right click on the furnace, and you'll see here its range, and it's quite far. So I'll go up here so you can see. But unfortunately it is not currently touching any mana pool. So if we grab a mana pool and we fill it up a little bit, and we'll grab these and we'll point these right back to it. One thing to keep in mind is that the mana will not go through these. So what we can do is we can just move these, and you can just put it right here. And you'll see that they're both connecting. So if we right click on this, we see that we put this down before we put the mana pool down. So now if we shift right click and we point it to the mana pool, we will see that the furnace is automatically going. With no fuel needed, it will automatically just keep topping itself off. And there we go, it's back at top. And then if we look over here, we will see that this is creating coal. And it is using the wood that we pass in from here. And we will see that the wood is being passed through, it is being cooked, and then it is being dropped on the pressure plate to create the coal. Using this, you can create a semi-automatic farm. All you need is a little bit of mana, which can be done just by throwing some wood onto the exoflames. But by doing this, as long as we feed that with wood, the coal produces a lot more fire than a simple wood does. If we hover over dirt, you can see there's a burn time of 300, there's a burn time of 300. If I look up coal, there's a burn time of 1,600, so it produces a significant amount more. And this is one of the earliest ways to get mana and not have to do very much. You can set up a group of trees, and as long as you have them all next to each other, Tree Decapitator will cut down all trees that are touching each other. So you can cut down up to 30 trees at the same time, and I'll generally have a farm that's purely set aside that I go to every now and then, and I'll just cut down the trees just so that way I can fill them in there. Okay guys, we went over the Runic Alter, as well as a quick way to make it so we can have semi-automatic mana. In the next one, we will try to work on getting the portal to Elfheim ready, as well as getting the next upgrade to our book, because this can actually be upgraded one more level. The next level of mana production that I usually get to is the TNT one, but there are better tutorials than I can do, so I'm not going to copy someone else's just to show you it. I will throw inside the comments a link to someone who I use. His tutorial is great, it's quick, it's straight to the point, it works wonderfully compared to the one we used to use. We used to have to duplicate the TNT, which was the quickest way. Tekxit Pi made it so you can't duplicate TNT and still make mana. So now this new way, the way I'll post in the chat, is the best way to do it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Stay for more. Check out the live streams. We've been doing a lot of the Tekxit. We have a pretty cool build going on right now. Like and comment. Let me know how these tutorials are working for you. If you need something else, let me know.